Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about the Kylie Cosmetics Royal Peach palette. I finally got my hands on one of them. Of course, you guys know that they were sold out, but they are back in stock and I could not wait to get one. Now, of course, when I decided that I wanted to purchase this palette, I immediately went to YouTube on the hunt for a woman of color to see if this palette would work for me, because you guys know that these shades are fairly light and I just wasn't sure if it would be pigmented enough for my skin tone. Now, I could not find anybody who had swatched this palette that was a woman of color. Now, it may be out there, but I couldn't find it. So I decided to film this video for you all in case there's somebody else like me that would like to see, will this palette work for me, and you are a woman of color. So I'm going to swatch this palette as well as talk to you guys about my first impressions of the palette. So if you would like to learn more about the Royal Peach palette, then please continue to watch. Alright, so first impressions. I really like this palette. I'm feeling pretty good about my purchase. I like that this is a warm palette, but I do like that the shades are very spring, very summer, just nice and bright, because I just like it. It's right up my alley. These shades are just so light and fresh that I think that they're perfect for spring, and I can't wait to continue to create makeup looks all spring long with this palette. I'll go ahead and tell you guys what it is that I'm wearing today, just so that you know. I put on quite a few shades today. I'm just trying them out, okay? So when I applied this palette, especially the transition shades that I use, they were a little bit splotchy. Like, I really had to blend a lot to blend the shades. I would say that they are blendable, but I might need to pay really close attention when I am applying my eyeshadow primer to make sure that I really have an even coat. I'm also going to try this palette with a different eyeshadow primer just to see. I really think that you really need a nice base before beginning to apply these shadows, because they're not super creamy. They're a good solid shadow, but I did have to blend quite a bit with the matte shades to make sure that they were evenly distributed on my eye. So that may be that I need to prime a little bit better, but I did want to pass it along that it's a good palette, but like if I compared it to my Modern Renaissance palette, the shades are a lot creamier in the Modern Renaissance palette and much more blendable than the shades in this palette. So it's still beautiful, still worth the purchase, but just wanted to let you know they're not super creamy, but they're also not dry and powdery either. They're somewhere in between. So the shades that I have on today, I'm wearing this, and I will try to get the shades right because on the back of this palette, it does tell you the shades. I don't know if it's going to zoom in so that you guys can see. I don't think it's going to zoom for you, but the shades are listed on the back of the palette, but they're kind of not in the right order. It's hard to explain. When you get yours, you'll see what I'm talking about. This is Sorbet. I have this on as my transition shade. I also have on this brown shade, which I believe is called Sandy. I believe this is Sandy. I kind of also applied this as a transition shade, but a little bit lower than the first shade, kind of moving down to my crease. Then I have on this shade here, this peachy color, and I believe it's called Peachy. This is in my crease as well as my V. I use that. And then I applied this pink shimmer shade on my lid. This one is called, this is Crush. So I have Crush on my lid, and I also have on Seashell. Seashell is on my lid as well. It's on the inner corner, and then Crush is on the outer corner. And I highlighted my inner tear duct today with this lavender shade. I believe this is North Star, and I highlighted my inner tear duct with that shade. I also smudged a lot of the shades, the matte shades, underneath my waterline as well. And I did try out the Kylie brush today because I did hear that this brush was really nice, and it is a very usable brush to be a brush that came along with the palette. Sometimes they do not send the best brushes, but this one is certainly worth using. So I will use it again with this palette, this wonderful brush. My first impressions, I really like how my makeup look came out. I think it's very soft and feminine. I do miss, I will say, not necessarily for today's look, but I do wish that they had a darker brown, a deeper brown, or some shade in the palette that's deep. I wish that there was a shade just a tad bit darker than this shade, so that if you want to deepen the color a little bit for a night out, that you have that option. So I'll have to make sure that I use other palettes if I ever decide that I want to kind of deepen my crease or anything like that. I'll have to pick a darker shade from another palette, but I'm sure that must have not been their intent. That's why they didn't put it in there, because they didn't want you to have a dark shade. I just want one. Also, there was a lot of buzz here on YouTube about this palette having a chemical scent, and they are correct. It does have a chemical scent. It smells just like spray paint. It smells like spray paint. It does. But I will say, you really had to me, you have to smell it in order to smell the spray paint. I don't smell it on my eyes right now. I didn't smell it while I was using it. And it's not super strong. It's not bothering me. But it could be a concern that you're putting something on your face that has such a high chemical scent. It makes you wonder, anytime you're applying something to your skin and it doesn't smell pleasant, it makes you wonder how many chemicals are in that product, because it smells like spray paint. It does. So just so you know, that's one flaw. Now this one, I won't glare. This palette does come with a mirror, so that's nice. Kylie, go ahead, girlfriend. That's nice. I can check myself out now. I'm gonna give this palette a B+. And I'm just going to take away a couple of marks for the fact that it does smell like spray paint, and who wants that? And I'm not quite sure it blends as well as I'd like for it to blend, but that's okay. Like, I was still able to make it work. My matte shades were just a little bit splotchy until I continued to blend to get them to blend. So not terrible. Just a wonderful palette, a solid palette, a great choice. I'm happy with my purchase, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this palette, but I'm not going to give them an A+, but it is a very good palette. Okay, good job, Kylie. Good job, girlfriend. Good job. All right, everyone, so this concludes my video. I hope that this has been helpful, whether you're a woman of color or not. I hope that you have learned something from this video. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed to my channel. I'd love for you to join the Savvy family. Yes, I would love to have you. I'll be seeing you guys again very soon. So until the next time we meet again, this is Savvy signing out.